morning, everyone. Well, I'm an academic, and what academics usually do is give some food for thought, and I will try to do that. I will also try to illustrate what I say with some examples from the industry and with some figures to explain. We discuss a lot these 2 days here about how technology actually influences this industry. Yesterday, speakers talked about data and information and the importance of actually using big data in the industry. I hold more or less a bit different perspective. I usually invest on knowledge, and I will talk about innovation and knowledge today. Well, Amadeus, we had that yesterday, said about innovation and technology. Well, they also say that innovation is much more than technology. It's about adaptation, affordability, and a set of activities aiming at satisfying needs. So technology, I see technology as a mean to achieve things and actually to create new products and services. But in travel industry, it's not about products and services. It's mainly about experiences, isn't it? Well, we discuss about today about sustainable innovation, value creation, and knowledge ambidexterity in the tourism world. For those of you who are not very familiar with the term ambidexterity, it's about exploration and exploitation. And in knowledge, it comes with explore the knowledge that we have, or we can create, or transfer, or share, and achieve more from this. So exploit. So innovation, we all discuss about innovation more or less. We know the significance of innovation in every aspect of every industry. So we know that it's key to growth, sustainability, and economic performance of firms, including conceptualization and development of creative ideas. There is a difference between innovation, creativity, and invention. So we need to pay some attention to that. We need to improve, create new services that will lead to satisfaction and effective management strategies and higher profits for firms. So it's not only to provide something innovative, but to make some profit out of it, right? What the innovation does, actually it provides straightforward problem-solving solutions, especially in this fierce, dynamic environment. Value-adding operations and methods to produce and deliver tourism products to customers. Okay? Make it affordable for the company. How do you, as members of the industry, stimulate travel experience for your customers? It's a good question. So innovation, we all know that it's a risky option. It is indeed. So that's why we need to actually have a strategy behind that. To provide a clear direction for dealing with challenges, such as selecting the markets to enter or the skills to develop. So innovation helps organizations to sustain competitiveness, remain current, in other words. This is very important. And generate long-term stability growth. But how do we do that? There are many, many ways actually to innovate and grow. I will focus on those 3. I could have 13, but this would be boring. So creating, sharing, and absorbing knowledge is something extremely critical. Establishing fruitful and challenging interactions with your ecosystem's players. We live in an era where we need to collaborate, even with competitors. I will introduce to you a term that we use for that. And adapt the business model in today's needs. What we did 10 years ago is not current anymore, and we need to think about that. And I will say in a bit, 10 years ago we discussed about innovation society. We have moved so forward than that. Oh yeah. So we have knowledge-based innovation, which is innovation that is based in knowledge. Not only knowledge creation, but sharing and transferring knowledge from one partner to another, from one unit or department to another. So knowledge-based innovation usually includes service provision, since we discuss about a service-based industry, based on customer knowledge, business models, as we said, based on competitors' knowledge, and infrastructure. Value creation is something also critical. For example, in every department, every day, they hold a meeting at every Ritz-Carlton around the world for 15 minutes just to share experience, what goes well. By sharing that, other staff members know how to do it. And it's not only that. What's most important is the feedback that you get from the knowledge and experience of other partners. So we have created that. We talked about the coordination of knowledge between units, departments, companies, etc. The communication, the knowledge flows within that, the dynamics of knowledge flows. So on one hand, we have the co-realization and the co-conception that create the collaboration and actually flourish collaboration. And we produce knowledge. So we coexist with other companies, with other departments in the same company. There are several examples actually that we have different departments that compete more than they collaborate. We co-evolve with our competitors, and we co-specialize. So what do we do? Years ago, we discussed about the importance of supply chain to reduce cost or to keep cost low. There we have knowledge storing, but usually we don't use that knowledge, especially 10 or 15 years ago. Then we moved actually to the value chain. And the driver was the revenue, to increase the revenue. Not only reduce cost, but to increase the revenue. The knowledge that was created back then was hoarding. So then we moved to value ecology, which is actually a value that is created between partners, between companies. And knowledge that is shared brings innovation. As simple as that. However, the ways and means by which we share knowledge can be so different and not always effective. I favor entrepreneurial clusters. I don't believe that actually businesses that work alone can succeed. That's almost impossible nowadays. So entrepreneurial clusters enable the rapid identification and availability of resources. What we do is actually share what we have with others. And that makes us stronger and more competitive. And also we use external knowledge, networking and stakeholder relationships to create value and grow. So innovativeness, that is very interchangeably related to competitiveness, improves when companies establish alliances with partners. So that's why I pay lots of attention on clusters. Using current resources to improve and exploit social capital. So defining those kind of clusters in the tourism industry, that's a definition I found for you to actually become more familiar. It's a complex group of different elements, of different firms that actually work together, collaborate. So the relationship between those kind of firms and institutions and a tourist cluster can be either horizontal or vertical. Horizontal is when we work together with partners. For example, when a hotel is overbooked and has to send the overbooked customers to another hotel. Or horizontal is also when we collaborate with partners to provide a full service. In other means, when, well, a hotel has accommodation, beds, and collaborates with a restaurant to provide a full service, for example. And vertical is when a company actually buys another service from another company. This is what we call B2B, to provide a better and more complete service to the customers. Such classes, we have several examples. I have this slide, and the other slide is about more familiar to us examples, the Greek examples. So first of all, we have the Napa Valley in San Francisco. What they do there is actually they make wine. And they exploited that. They don't only make and sell wine. The importance in this example is that this area attracts more than 5 million visitors per year. Consider the number. Greece is a country of 10 million people, and this year had 18, 19 million people coming in. And it's just a valley there and attracts more than 5. Imagine the dynamics. What they did well, what we don't do here in a way, is that at the very beginning of this initiative, they built an economic development corporation actually to organize that. That's why I said before that behind innovation we need to have strategy. Processes and new developments don't come without a strategy first. So by developing that corporation, what they managed to do is to organize processes and actually manage to develop and deliver a more complete product. So visitors don't come just to learn how they make successful wine, good taste. So this cluster develops the necessary interconnections and links outside its environment. They collaborate with hotels, with restaurants, and with other kind of services from the industry. A different example is the Nudler Hotels Group. What they do, what they do is that they have done something really smart to keep investment costs low, but at the same time provide a complete service. They offer luxury accommodation in neighborhoods that actually are quite vivid, I would say, quite active. And they have restaurants, bar, and whatever, to offer a more complete service without any markup. So this innovative business model, because we discussed about business model before, promotes the 3 aspects of sustainability by supporting the growth of local communities. And then, well, here in Greece, we lack of several things. And we don't have an organized business cluster in any industry, even in 2014 or 15. But we have unofficial clusters. So we can distinguish that on 2 levels. On the national level, where organizations from one industry actually across the country collaborate to promote Greece as a destination. And I can take that example. TMA do that. They do that overseas. And also in a smaller context, we have local regional level business clusters that could be formed based on geographical characteristics. And this is the example below. It's very similar to the Napa Valley. They do that in Iraq and Crete. It's very, very similar, and they do it successfully. So they produce good wine there, and they have exploited that. So let's consider that we have actors in the middle, whatever that is. It can be a company, it can be a unit, a department, whatever, or even a team. And we have complementers on one hand and substitutes on the other. We have the resources from the suppliers and the providers. And on top we have the customers. Well, up there I mentioned internal customers, but it's not only the internal customers, it's also the external customers. And what's the difference between those two? External customers usually give money, that kind of resource to us. whereas the internal customers is people who work for us. Especially in this industry, we need to have your staff satisfied. Otherwise, how they will deliver a good service? If people don't smile, for example, or are not kind, it will fail. You're from the industry, so you know that even better than me. Okay? So we have actors who actually facilitate the realization of the deliverables, or provide the resources, or make own realization of deliverables, or deliver good services, etc. Then I will come to the point where knowledge of dexterity is important in such clusters. So organizations utilize knowledge to convert old capabilities into new ones. So we have some knowledge, we have some experiences. That is good, but is it enough? In this dynamic and fierce environment, it's not enough, I can tell. What you need to do is actually, as companies, and as people, as individuals as well, what you need to do is to use what you have learned and invest on new knowledge. And combine what you have learned from knowledge and experiences with new knowledge, with new partnerships. Dynamics that emerge from such partnerships can only be significant. That's the importance of external collaborations. Even with competitors, they know something that you don't, usually, especially the successful ones. So the dynamics of the market and the relationship between entrepreneurial firms, because we don't have any other, do we? Firms that are not entrepreneurial don't exist. They disappear, they vanish. Create increased capability to identify new opportunities and use these opportunities for new, novel, innovative developments. So we have those actors belonging to such clusters are always in advantageous position because they share resources. And resources is not only about money. Money is what comes last. What comes first is knowledge, is human and social capital. Invest on that and you will succeed. So, we have the different levels of an entrepreneurial life cycle. More or less, we all know about that. But the importance is, and I will try to keep it simple, this is too academic. At the very beginning, we have an opportunity search in a competitive environment like we are having today, and the market dynamics. On the other hand, we have resource identification and resource appropriation. We need to know what kind of resources are available and what of those available we can use effectively. And then we have strategy alignment and dynamic equilibrium. Okay, this is terminology. You don't have to worry about that. But the importance is that the truth is always somewhere in the middle in real business. So we need to cooperate. We need to know how to cooperate, and we need to know how to compete. That's another too complicated, but I will keep it simple. We have the entrepreneurial cluster, and we have the value creation that actually develops in the cluster. So we capture the value and we exploit. And then we have opportunities that emerge through those kind of interactions, from firm to firm. The opportunities that emerge from new value propositions, something that we didn't know before, and we combine with new customers' insights, for example. This is something critical. You need to know what customers actually need. And opportunities through the networks and strategies. And of course, knowledge is always at the top. So we have technological advancements that organizations use to change. But is it only about technology? The value proposition and business model concepts stand at the core of business, okay? Especially in knowledge-based and knowledge-driven concepts. So globalization serves as both a catalyst of accelerated development. We know that. We know the dynamic of globalization, don't we? Well, the answer can be heterogeneity. regards as a mindset and a practice where complexity and diversity are leveraged strategically in a manner that promotes organizational sustainability. Innovation can be a significant lever of sustainability. It keeps us current, so it keeps us move on. Well, that's the business model framework. I will not bother you with that. So innovation emerges from posture, so what we actually, organizations position within the business ecosystem. Propensity, well, it's the reflection of what we do, routines, dynamics, processes, and so on, to deliver something that is well performed. Therefore, organizational design and business model innovation, as we discussed, is then the effective alignment of the organization to the firm's business model to create an optimal environment for the 3 Ps up there. An example, there is the Nordic Innovation Organization. They collaborate with OECD and they make that project, the Business Model Innovation Tourism and Experience Project. This is a cluster, a successful one, where actually companies from different sectors of the same industry, the tourism industry, sit down and benchmark what they can do well, better, and what they do wrong, and they improve. What they mainly do is share knowledge and transfer knowledge from one partner to another. And that's successful. We need to be current, and we want, I guess, to exist tomorrow. So what we need to do is to find ways to innovate, to become sustainable. So we have knowledge creation, unlocking, capturing, and all that stuff. We have organization design, which is important, and governance, and in the middle we have business model innovation. We need to adapt in today's needs. So that's a summary, and with that I'll close. Well, innovation is a driver of progress, enabling companies to combine technology capabilities, resources, and so on. We discussed about all that. The power of collaboration, and you may be familiar with that term, open innovation, comparing to closed innovation. I usually challenge companies to, they have chosen to actually follow the closed path. It's not a sustainable path. And I have a very good example with that. Even Apple, a very successful company, isn't it? Has closed innovation. However, even that company works with developers and integrates. So even that, they don't do that all alone. And we're here today, December 6th. Even Apple will change. Well, Apple is not in the tourism industry, but it's okay. How can tourism organizations become innovative? How can they develop what people need? Yesterday, someone talked about the personalization, tailored services to customers. All right? So the development of partnerships is the answer in any way. So making strategic partnerships with technology firms, tourism and travel agents, and customers create knowledge, capabilities, and means to move forward. So open or collaborative innovation enables firms to remain current. I'm not sure if you have questions for me, but what I'm sure is I have questions for you to think about. How well do you understand the competition and market environment? And it's not only about understanding. What kind of knowledge actually do you perceive? And how do you use that knowledge? Is the answer. Or is the path to the answer? What kind of collaborations have you developed? If you did. And what is the outcome? If it was not so successful, maybe you need to reconsider. What types of distribution channels do you use to generate business? Not only new units or new departments or new firms, new businesses, new products, new services, even that. And does your company provide opportunities to each employee to learn? Ten years ago, we discussed about information society. This is past already. We have moved forward. We live in a knowledge economy, a knowledge society. And even the future will change. Remember how it was Greece 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and how is it now? And consider that. What would have happened if that country had invested in knowledge, in innovation? We don't even have a cluster. Is there any? Even Bulgaria has clusters. I mean, imagine that. Thanks very much.